Okay, so we're going to take a second. I'm just going to kind of show you some of the things that we've discovered as we walk around this equipment. Now, keep in mind, there's about 50 of these machines on this roof, and they're all about 20 years old, and they have not had great maintenance. So that's kind of a testament to how well they were built. But let me show you what we're kind of discovering as we go through. So the first thing that kind of pointed out was these machines have to run even when it's cool down below, because their primary use is humidity control. They want to lower the humidity. So what happens when we run them and it starts getting cold down below is we start seeing suction pressures that are very low. Well, if you get a suction pressure too low, you're going to start freezing your evaporator coil. So you have two choices. You either have to shut off compressors, or you can open a hot gas bypass circuit. This machine chose the hot gas bypass circuit. If we look over here, right here where you see the tag that says circuit 1 hot gas bypass, what we're looking at is a hot gas line that comes right off of the condenser. Did not go through the condenser. It was actually diverted over into the hot gas bypass valve. If you see this little line coming off of it, the little line is connected to the suction line, and it's monitoring suction line pressure. If the suction line pressure falls too low, meaning the coil is going to try to freeze up, it's going to open that hot gas bypass circuit. It's going to allow some hot gas to dump directly into the evaporator coil. That's going to warm things up, increase the suction pressure, allow you to keep running this machine under those conditions. That works very well. That was something that every machine we've gone through so far, that has not been operational. So they've had a lot of problems over the years with these things freezing up and turning off on low pressures and such. Let's move down. I'll show you another issue we found. So right here, we have a suction line filter dryer. Now, these filter dryers, basically the only way you know if you have a suction line filter dryer stopping up is you get a pressure drop. So we've been noticing on these machines a lot of very low suction pressures. In fact, the last one we worked on, the suction line was frosting up really bad. We ended up isolating the suction line filter dryer, and we actually removed the cores. What we found inside of there was the cores were burnout cores. They were desiccant solid cores with a very fine mesh screen underneath them, and the pressure drop was 10 psi across this suction line dryer, which is way more than it should be. Maximum is like 3. So we took out the bad cores, put in the new cores, removed the screen like you're supposed to. Sporeland, the maker of the cores, they tell you when you have an acid burnout, you can use solid core dryers on the suction line until you solve the problem, and then you got to go back to the pleated type. So that's what we did, solved a big problem with that. We're seeing a couple of other things where there was some concern about like leaks. So we're kind of going around and we're kind of noticing that we see these like dark spots on the coils and maybe some oil drippage on the drip pan down below. And we're noticing that there's a little seepage here and there on oil leaks. So what we're advising the customer to do in this case, since they haven't been managing this equipment for a long time and there's no decent records, we're asking them to go ahead and get these machines charged up, get them where they should be, log it all in, and then now monitor their leak rate from this point forward. So we're starting to see that a lot of the machines might have leaked out over a number of years or had service to them that caused them to not be fully charged, or some other issue. Like I say in class, a lot of times it's like an onion. You got to peel back these multiple layers. There's probably not one problem, there's probably 8 or 10. And we solve one, we find another one, we keep working our way through. So we've gone through them, we found a lot of things like that. We've kind of been making recommendations on what to do. But overall, the machines are starting to look better and they're starting to sound and run really well.
And what about the trainees? How are they doing?
The trainees are actually doing really well. So when we got here on the first week, what it was just basically fundamentals. So we sat down with the fundamentals, went through the fundamentals. We were going to leave. Customer asked us would we stay another week and spend a week on the roof with some of their rock stars of the training class. So we've been doing that for the last few days, and these guys are just about ready to be turned loose. So it just kind of goes to show that if you've got a good basic knowledge, mechanical knowledge, and you get some decent instruction on how things work and should work, and then somebody shows you the normals of a piece of equipment, you can kind of take it from there.
Great. Thank you.